Yo, guys, what's up? It's time for Bets Against the Spread. It's week 11. I said we weren't going to do the whole, oh my God, it's week 11 thing anymore. So we're not going to do it anymore. It's week 11. We've made it. Congratulations, everybody. And we got a pretty great slate. We got a great panel, as always. Joe Holka, Matt LaMarca. How you guys doing today? Maddie, I see that your Mets out. Is baseball season started already?
Steve Cohen season, baby.
Okay.
Off season, rumor season, baby. You know what it is. We're over here talking ourselves into the Mets getting Frankie Lindor in a trade. We're going to sign Trevor Bauer and JT Realmuto. What could go wrong, Dieter?
It's the Mets. We'll find out, surely. Like, that's the only thing that we really will know, that something is going to go wrong. And Joe Holka, who's feeling a lot better, and we're all feeling good about that. How you doing?
Yeah, I'm doing good. I don't know anything really about baseball, but for any hockey people out there, big day on the Line Movement channel. We do have a Mark Messier interview that's going to drop today at noon, which is really cool. We're doing this entire week, 94 Rangers week. So if anyone's been watching Real Kipper at noon, you guys know that's where he won his Stanley Cup. But yeah, 6 Stanley Cups from the guy that's going to be on our channel today. So that's pretty good, I suppose. But yeah, I'm feeling a lot better. But none of those people probably care about hockey, but I do, okay? And that's what matters.
How many combined for him and Kipper?
7. Kipper contributes one of those.
I was gonna say, so if you're Kipper, you gotta lean into that, right? You know, we've got to combine 7 Stanley Cups on this show today, guys.
This is why you guys lean into me, right? Like it's sometimes you just got to ride with the success. And we're going to start with Thursday night in a game that I have a read on, and I want to get your guys' read on. Arizona, so Joe's kind of out of this. He can't be unbiased here. And Kyler Murray, who is now, I guess, the MVP. I don't know. Is it Mahomes? It's probably Mahomes.
Mahomes is the betting favorite now.
Right. Okay. And thank you, because we are a betting channel. It's important that we get these things right. And then Russell Wilson and the Seattle Seahawks. So it's in Seattle. Seattle is a 3-point favorite, even though there's no crowd in Seattle. I got a thought on it. I want to hear your guys' thoughts first. Let's start with you, Matt LaMarca. What are you thinking?
Well, first, I think we just have to light a candle for Joe Holka and how upset he is that this game isn't on the main slate. You know,
I don't even care. I'm still riding high, boys. That Hail Mary literally knocked the corona out of my body. I'm convinced.
I'm going to be looking at this game for one angle in particular, and that is taking the under on 58 points.
Okay.
I know that that's not going to be a popular take. We all love offense, but a couple trends. First, we've talked about that trend of just fading all overs above 55 points, 40 and 30 in general on that trend against the spread, 10 and 15 this season. And then also another trend, now we can start getting into some of these late season trends that I like.
Ooh.
Week 11 or later, if you take the under in a divisional game, it's 195, 120, and 4 against the spread since 2004. So very profitable, very powerful trend. It makes sense. I do think that as we get deeper into the season, especially now, these defenses are more acclimated to getting stops. These teams have more familiarity with each other. There's more film on tape. We've seen Seattle's offense already start to slow down a little bit. I think it just makes sense to target late season divisional unders, and the numbers back that up.
Joe, what about the trend that the Seahawks defense is hot garbage?
That is definitely a trend. LaMarca, you're teetering very, very closely to these monthly trends that you hate so much. What's this week 11 or later thing? I'm just kidding. That obviously has a lot to do with the time of year, the season. It's a larger sample size, but I don't know, man. Just be careful. You're almost to these monthly trends that you hate so much. This game, I mean, pretty easily, I'm just going to go with the division-leading Arizona Cardinals on this. I don't even care what the line is. But I do agree, LaMarca, that it's interesting to kind of attack the over in a situation like this. High-flying offenses, yes, but Russell Wilson has not looked very good over the last few weeks. Probably his worst game of the season last week. I don't know if that's really that much of a conversation. So I could see them rebounding. But can we just also see Pete Carroll being there like, see, I told you. This is what happens when all we want to do is pass. So Chris Carson probably going to be back in this game. So maybe it's just a more viable running situation overall for the Seahawks in this one. And it gets back to kind of how they used to play, which wasn't near the let Russ cook type of movement here. So I don't know. I think there's a chance there's a little bit more ball control than maybe the line, at least the early line, is indicating. You guys with me on that?
I'm with you on that 100%. It seems to me the last couple of games the Seahawks have been trying to let Russ cook less, and that they're trying to get back to the running game, but they don't have a good running back with Chris Carson out. And so it's just sort of sputtered and stalled, and Pete Carroll can't get over it. Brian Schottenheimer can't get over it. And they keep playing so that they can give their defense like a chance. And that is a bad strategy. They have a terrible defense. It's not going to get any better. Who's rushing the passer on this team? The linebackers are a step slower than they were even a year ago. They're still really good, but they're still a step slower, especially against the pass. I don't think Jamal Adams can fix the secondary. I thought the secondary was good coming into the year, but Jamal and then you add Jamal Adams, you go, oh man, this might be the best secondary in the NFL. Wrong. They're not even close. They're bad. It's a bad defense, all things considered. And listen, I don't think much of Arizona's defense, but they're opportunistic. They can give you a shot at it by getting a turnover or two. And Kyler's playing at another level. And it's not as if what Kyler's doing is unsustainable. There's a lot of dink and dunk in this offense. And he just makes plays outside of those dink and dunk opportunities because he's a playmaker. I'm in on Arizona. My column last week on line movement. Oh, yeah, go, Matt. Yeah.
That this sort of feels like the low point for the Seattle Seahawks, right? You know, their stock has not been lower this season. And I always like to target teams in that situation. And another thing to keep in mind is that Russ is historically one of the best in the business coming off of a loss.
Yeah.
24, 13, and 4 against the spread in his career coming off of a loss. Now, I know what you're going to say, but he lost last week coming off of a loss.
Mm-hmm. So is he going to do it twice?
Here's Russ off of 2 straight losses. 5-1-1 against the spread in his career.
Yeah.
He has never lost 3 straight games.
We say this is the low point. They're favored in this game. Like they're
favored by 3 points at home. They're basically saying that this team is even to the Arizona Cardinals.
Is that a ridiculous notion?
I'm not saying that I'm super long on Seattle. There are a lot of problems with Seattle. I'm just saying if you take the teams out of it and you just look at the numbers, this spread the advanced spread on this game was 5.5. If we had played this game 3 weeks ago, Seattle would have been favored by 6 or 7 points.
They did play this game 3 weeks ago. Arizona won.
Right. And Seattle was favored by 3 or 3.5 in Arizona.
Yep.
I'm just saying, take the teams out of it. Look at the numbers.
Mm-hmm.
The numbers are leaning towards Seattle. I'm not saying I want to be on the Seattle side. I'm just putting the numbers out there.
I like your underplay. I'm with you on the underplay. I think we can all agree that might be the real play here, even with the just god-awful defense that Seattle has. Maybe this is the week where it starts looking like it should, which is respectable. Let's talk about Philadelphia. Let's talk about the Cleveland Browns. Ugh. By the way, I know, but can we talk about the uniforms? They're incredible. They just look so good, and look good, play good. Or be the Browns. Browns are 3.5-point favorites at home. Eagles coming in. The total on this one, 48 points, 47.5 in some places. Anyone want to buy in on the Eagles? Because after last week, I think that's a pretty hard case to make, and I would love to hear it. Anyone? What do you got, Joe?
Yeah, it's really hard for me to make a case for the Eagles overall. Just I don't know. I thought Carson Wentz would just be so much better this year in general. Totally. This is one of these spots that I think that now that Cleveland kind of has like their run game at full strength, like it's just not a situation where I think that say what you want, Carson Wentz is probably someone that needs a little bit more volume to succeed right now because he just hasn't had the efficiency that we've seen in the past. I get that they're getting healthier, the weapons, all of that stuff, but when it comes down to it, Carson Wentz has just got to be a lot better. So I think this defense for Cleveland can kind of give them fits overall. I know it was kind of a weird game last week anyway with all the weather and stuff in Houston, but I think that Cleveland this is the identity they want on offense. So without Odell Beckham, I think they're just still going to continue to try and use the run game, take the ball out of Baker's hands a little bit. So I like the Cleveland side of this game.
Maddie, what kind of trends you got for me?
Yeah, no real trends, but
other than Carson Wentz's trend line.
What
going
a
like
disappointing showing for the Eagles. It was all set up for them. They're as healthy as they've been all season, and just to lay a complete egg like that against the Giants. I do worry about Cleveland's ability to run the ball in this game. Philly
Really?
is 10th in rush defense DVOA, and we know that basically the Browns go as their run game goes.
Mhm.
They were able to control the game on the ground last week. Chubb and Hunt combining for over 200 yards. So I think that this game is probably a stay away for me. I do think that Philly getting healthier, they're still the best team in the NFC East for whatever that's worth, but you just can't feel very confident in them following their showing last week.
So are we all in on Browns -3.5? Is that the play if we had to take one?
I like it.
What do you got, Matt?
I'm abstaining.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Anyone have a thought on the total? You feeling feisty enough to take an over on 48, Matt?
Nope.
Okay. He is totally abstaining. He's pleading the fifth on the second game of the day. This is a strange one. I don't know what to make of this line. Now, you also have to understand that I just had to watch an entire New Orleans Saints game, and they beat the 49ers, but the Saints were really bad against the 49ers, and I don't think it had anything to do with San Francisco. Now you have Jameis Winston, famous Jameis Winston, as the starting quarterback. Presumably, they say it might be Taysom Hill. It'll probably be Jameis. For the New Orleans Saints, they're going to host the Atlanta Falcons, and Jameis is a 5-point favorite at home with a 51-point total. How are we not taking Atlanta here? Matt, am I right to just pound Atlanta here and get all 5 of these points plus some money line action?
I don't know.
It.
I kind of like Jameis. I think this might be the first ever committee quarterback situation.
Oh my
Would
goodness.
it shock you if we had Taysom Hill play half the snaps and Jameis play half the snaps?
No, and that would make me want to pound Atlanta even more.
It is true. I hate the Taysom Hill experience, although the results have been better recently. I just think that New Orleans is a very good defensive football team, and they're starting to get their playmakers back offensively. I mean, they're 2-0 now with Michael Thomas back in the lineup. They've covered the spread in both of those games, and Thomas hasn't really even done all that much.
True.
So I don't know if the downgrade from Breeze to Winston is really that massive. Drew Brees is clearly on the decline. Jameis Winston, he's good for a bonehead turnover or two here and there. And that's really what kills him. But as far as, production, moving the ball, still one of the best in the league. So again, this is another one that I'm kind of split on. I think if anything, I'm going to lean towards that divisional under again, just because it fits the same trend that I mentioned for Seattle and Arizona. And I am nothing if not a just complete donkey when it comes to trends.
We've often described you as such. My concern, Joe, with this is Jameis doesn't get the ball out fast enough. And I know that seems counterintuitive, but Drew Brees, he's a surgeon, man. He's just dinking and diming, and it's quick, and you throw it to the slant god, and he gets his 7 yards, and you do that 14 times, and suddenly he's got 100, and it's like, that's the Saints offense, and Jameis doesn't run that offense. Now, maybe with a week of practice, he can. I don't know if practice is even happening in the NFL these days.
Talking about practice.
I'm just saying, that would be the one reason, with a week of practice, he can kind of figure it out. But, man, he's just a very different quarterback than Drew Brees, and this offense is predicated on the way Drew Brees plays offense. That's why they have the weird Taysom Hill thing. So I'm taking Atlanta. Are you with me? Because Matt's not, and I feel a little betrayed.
There's a few things here, Dieter. Number one, and the most important by far, is we will no longer be calling Michael Thomas the slant god after he cost me a ton of money last week. I thought he was this amazing one-off play. Like we talked about this. I know some of these people probably don't care about DFS. We talked about this on Sunday morning, trying to get at least one of Michael Thomas or Kamara into every team with all these weather concerns and other ones.
Which
so
was
that
the better
wasn't
option
great.
there.
Yeah, pretty clearly my flag plant. Suck it, Peter. Peter wanted the Thomas side. I wanted the Kamara side. So regardless, he is no longer the slant god. That's number
slant
one.
Boy. Back to slant boy. I'm fine with that. I enjoy a good pejorative nickname.
Yeah. Number two, I'm with you that I don't necessarily feel like the pieces come together seamlessly with Winston and the skill set of, yes, the slant boy and someone like Alvin Kamara, where you do have to get it out quick, all that stuff. So I'm with you guys on all that. I also think that I'm really excited to play 2 quarterbacks on FanDuel this week because we can just play Taysom Hill in the tight end spot. So that'd be really cool. Overall, I want to believe in Jameis because he's been able to elevate these offenses as a whole. Basically, his whole career, he does make mistakes, all of that stuff. But Falcons off of a bye. I mean, they're healthy. They're definitely going to be like full strength for the first time in a while around Matt Ryan. So I think I like the idea of the Falcons, but my heart says I would love to just have Taysom Hill and Winston just go absolutely crazy in the same lineup. So I want to believe in that.
Okay. I can get behind that. Listen, we all have to, appease our own masters, and yours is the DFS gods. So I can ride with that. I'm still taking Atlanta until someone talks me out of it. I'm just taking it. I'm taking those 5 points, and I'm throwing some money down on that game because New Orleans is still secret trash to me. They're right back in there. There was 1 week where I go, I don't know, the Buccaneers got their asses kicked, and then I saw them last week, and I go, nope, that was the right read all along. Dieter, every dog has its day, and they had theirs against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. We're not going to talk about Detroit and Carolina because we don't know who's starting a quarterback for Carolina, and it's kind of hard to make a bet unless you got an idea.
The DFS Twitter community is salivating at the chance to play PJ Walker.
Is that true?
The XFL community is salivating at the chance.
Well, it's a very tight Venn diagram of the XFL community and the DFS Twitter community.
It's 2 perfect overlapping circles.
It's 1 circle.
Oh my God.
So we're not going to talk about that, even though I, as a lifelong St. Louis Battlehawks fan, would love to break down some XFL stuff. Pass. We're just going to pass. Plus, that game is depressing anyway. So we're going to talk about a game that's somehow even more depressing, New England and Houston, albeit depressing for different reasons. I don't know what got into the Patriots last week, maybe some weather, and Houston just seems determined to give the Miami Dolphins a very, very high draft pick. New England 2.5-point favorites on the road in Texas with a 47-point total. Joe, what do you make of this line?
Yeah, I like this game overall. I think we just talked about the pieces not fitting together in New Orleans in some ways. Like the matchup definitely kind of pieces together in favor of the Patriots, in my opinion. The Texans are brutal against the run. And now that like the Patriots have made it very clear that they want to remain a run-heavy offense with Damian Harris, like even a little bit of Rex Burkhead mixed in, of course, Cam Newton, whoever else it is. So I think that definitely plays to the strengths of what the Patriots are trying to do right now. I like this game overall because I think that like on the other side of it, I think people are probably sleeping on how well Deshaun Watson has played this year. I think that this passing game still, last week we have all these weather concerns. You can't really go to a guy like Will Fuller in that situation down the field, but I like Fuller again this week. I like Brandon Cook. So I think that you could probably talk me into an over, though I do think there's going to be a lot of running on the Patriots side overall. So I'll take the Patriots to cover here. But I think I might be on the over. I'm not ready to, I guess, flag plant that one yet, though.
Is there anything in particular, Matt, that you think Houston does well besides like have a good quarterback?
Lose football games?
No, that is astute. That is the way to twist my words on me in an astute manner. But then again, it's the Patriots. Like, can you feel confident in what it is they do on a week in, week out basis?
I do agree with Joe that I think the Pats have found their identity. They want to be this 60% run team, just old school football. You got to prove that you could stop the run before we're going to pass type of team. And we know that that's not an optimal way to play football in 2020, but it could definitely work in this matchup versus the Texans. This is also the first game of the week where we're seeing some interesting betting numbers. So Pats right now, 69% of the early betting tickets, but 93% of the betting dollars. We've also seen a steam movement on the Patriots. So the Sharps are getting in their money early on New England. I do somewhat worry that this line has almost completely flipped. The advanced spread was Houston -3. Now it's New England -2.5. But this is just the perfect matchup for the way the Patriots want to play football at this point.
All right. You talked me into it. I'll take the Patriots. Let's talk about Pittsburgh and Jacksonville. Jake Luton is being disrespected again. He covered last week in Green Bay, 20-20. I mean, it was a 13-point spread. They lost by 4. I don't know what that final possession was for the Jaguars. And in fact, I will just deem it comedy because it was one of the funniest things I've ever seen, that final play of the game. But now you have Pittsburgh, who, as our friend James McCool tells us, is an emotional team. They always play down to the competition, and they are now 10.5-point favorites on the road in Jacksonville. I think we stay on the Luton train, guys. I think we ride this bad boy straight to hell. What do you think, Matt?
Give me the Luton. Give me the Luton.
Let's go.
I'm a bad man. I don't know about the whole emotional thing, but Pittsburgh and Ben
Is that a general
Roethlisberger,
comment on life?
absolutely terrible as a road favorite.
Yep.
If you look at Ben, favored by at least 7 points on the road during the regular season, 6 and 17 against the spread.
Oh, let me bathe in that. That is
So
a
I don't want to give Luton too much credit. I keep saying his name. Is it Luton? Is it Luton? I don't know.
We don't actually have to learn it because I don't think he's long for this job.
I credit the weather more than anything else for the Jaguars being able to cover last week, but he has covered 2-0 as a starting quarterback. So I agree with you, Dieter. Let's go.
Straight to hell. Straight to hell. Joe, you want to talk us out of this terrible position?
Yeah, I'm on the other side this week, guys. I know that we want to like pound this narrative about this the Steelers just like playing down to opponents. You seen this like trio of wide receivers for the Steelers? I don't think the Jaguars can cover any of them, literally. No, so I don't know. I think there's a chance that this one goes kind of nuclear in favor of the Steelers. I don't know. I think they still can pile it on. They're able to, for sure. I heard someone mention that this Pittsburgh team, obviously, just is Big Ben in the MVP conversation. If it wasn't for what Mahomes and Kyler Murray were doing, I mean, he might get a vote for the MVP. Maybe a long shot bet in that regard.
Some Pittsburgh guys definitely giving them.
That's what I'm saying, right?
That's a guarantee.
So very interesting. I kind of like this game overall. On the Luton side, the one thing that I can say positive about him is that he is not scared to just chuck it deep, which plays to the strengths of a guy like Chark. So I like Chark and DFS a little bit on the other side of this game. But overall, I think the Steelers win, cover the spread.
Okay. When they emotionally let themselves down, when the McCool principle plays itself into action, I'm going to come right to you, Joe Holka.
That's fine.
We have already tracked 2 steam moves on the Jaguars at 10. So the majority of the betting action, unsurprisingly, is on Pittsburgh to start the week, but it does look like there have been some sharp, line move on the Jacksonville side.
Yeah, it's me. It's only me. I'm the only one making these bets.
You're single-handedly causing steam moves.
Yeah. Listen, you guys don't know what I'm playing with. What we're going to talk about next, though, is Green Bay, the team that almost lost to the Jaguars last week at home, and Indianapolis with old man Rivers. It's not looking great for old man Rivers. They're bringing in quarterbacks to throw it more than 15 yards down the field. I don't know. And yet Indianapolis, 2.5-point favorites at home. Joe, what the hell's going on with this line, man?
Yeah, this one feels like a nice bounce back spot, I think, for Green Bay. I think that this is a spot where, it's not a great matchup by any means. I'm with LaMarca that this defense for Indy is definitely their strength. I think there's a chance that the Colts have a lot of success running the ball in this one because that's kind of where you attack the Packers, as we've seen multiple times. But I think this is one where the Packers are interesting for sure. This is probably my first stay away, though, because I don't have a lot of conviction overall on either side. I don't think this Packers team is as good as their record would indicate, but I do think that it's really hard to get on board with Rivers on the other side of this one. Any opinions on this one, LaMarca? I don't know if I have a clear lean.
I mean, if you can beat Green Bay, you have to do it through the air. And again, like you said, it's just hard to have conviction in Phil Rivers. Their offense has played better. I mean, they just throttled the Colts last week, put up 430 yards of offense. The Titans have a bad defense.
Yeah.
But so do the Packers. So I don't see why the Colts couldn't win this game. They do have the rest advantage here.
Right.
I just don't like that they have moved from 2.5-point underdogs to 2.5-point favorites.
What,
That
I mean,
kind of
what do you make? What do you make of that? Is that all off of that Jacksonville game?
I think that that is definitely partially to blame. I do think that there has also been some early sharp activity on Indy.
Mm,
So the Indy is a team that the sharps have liked all year. I know that we make fun of me, but I am just someone who reads the numbers. You know what I'm saying?
right.
Like the sharps like the Indy side, so therefore I typically like the Indy side. Um I don't know if I agree with them in this spot. I just love Aaron Rodgers. The thought of getting Aaron Rodgers as an underdog is definitely appealing. We know that Rodgers is somebody who typically performs much better at home than he does on the road. But again, how do you not take Rodgers plus 2.5 against Phil Rivers at this point?
I will say this about the Colts. They're physical, right? And that is the way that you beat the Packers. You just punch them in the mouth. They don't know how to handle that on defense. And if you can rush Aaron Rodgers, they'll implode about half the time if you can actually get a pass rush on them. So I understand the sharp action on the Colts, but I just don't think that the Colts are a team that I can trust on a week in, week out basis. Not with their quarterback play, straight up. So I'm probably with you, Joe. Like, this is a stay away. Like, I maybe if this line moves a little bit more, I might get in on the Green Bay side, but I don't think it's going to go to 3. I don't think it's going to go to 3.5. Do you disagree, Matt?
Mm, yeah, no, I don't.
Yeah.
I don't
Okay.
disagree.
So let it lie. Should be an interesting game to watch, though. That's an afternoon one. So I'm looking forward to that. Let's talk about I'm sorry, a late afternoon one. We still have an early afternoon one here. A couple early afternoon ones to get to. Cincinnati and Joe Burrow, Alex Smith in Washington. This is a sadness bowl. And the total on it is 46.5. Washington is favored by 1.5, depending on where you're looking. Are people out on Joe Burrow? I'm seeing a lot of Joe Burrow slander flying around on the Twitterverse and all that. I like Joe Burrow, but then again, I haven't had to really watch the Cincinnati Bengals in earnest this year, so maybe I'm missing something. What have you been seeing, Matt?
They just can't block. They have
Yeah,
a terrible offensive line, and now they have to go up against a ferocious Washington pass rush. I mean, if we look at Cincy here, they're 27th in adjusted sack rate this season. Part of that is going to be on Burrow, right? I mean, he's a young guy. I'm sure he's
yeah.
holding the ball a little bit too long, but this just sets up as a really bad matchup for them in the trenches. So my initial thought on this was like, wow, I can't believe Washington is favored here, just because I think the public perception is that Washington is bad and Cincinnati is frisky. But
Hmm.
the more I dig into it, I have a feeling I'm going to end up on the Washington side here.
Joe, can we trust Alex Smith at all? It's a great story and everybody's rooting for him, but I watched the end of that game against Detroit last week and they got to get all the way down the field. And I mean, they seemed capable of moving the ball more than 4 yards at a time against a prevent defense. That's concerning.
I don't think it's really the worst thing to move the ball that way, especially in these matchups where there's going to be pressure. I don't know if this is one of them with this. I agree with LaMarca that it's definitely a mismatch on both sides with kind of in the trenches overall. But I'm not an Alex Smith truther by any means, but I do think that he's been in obviously the KC organization. He knows how to win games. He knows how to attack defenses thoughtfully. So I think that there's a chance that he could have some success in this one. I think I'm on the Washington side. We've seen time and time again, yes, Joe Burrow has had a great season. He's really struggled against pressure. We saw what he did against the Steelers last week. This Washington defensive line, maybe not quite as elite, but it's up there. So I think that I want to be on the side of the trenches in this one. So I like Washington. I'm with LaMarca.
What number would this have to go to for you to feel uncomfortable playing it? Because I'm with you. I mean, if they're going to win both of the trenches, that's got to be worth a couple of points, not just 1.5. What number would you feel comfortable going to?
I think that
If you're laying more than a field goal with
I
Alex
was gonna
Smith
say
in
3.
2020,
Yeah.
you have to take a good hard look in the mirror.
Yeah.
If you're betting if you're betting this game in general, you have to look hard in the mirror. I mean, what are we doing here? Is there some massive market advantage to be had from games that no one wants to watch? Maybe,
Yes.
maybe. Yeah, okay, that's a good point, man. Sorry. I heard it coming out of my mouth. I wanted to pull it back in because I knew that you would take personal offense to that. This is a game everyone's going to watch, though. Tennessee and Baltimore. Well, presuming that your local CBS affiliate has it. Tennessee and Baltimore. Baltimore's looked like crap lately, and yet they're still a touchdown, 6.5 point favorite at home against Tennessee. I get it. I'm not high on Tennessee. Haven't been all year. But Matt, like, at some point we have to sell Baltimore, right? Like, at some point they're showing you who they are, and we have to remove ourselves from this notion that we had early in the year that, oh, this is an exceptional football team. Like, they're not. They can't move the ball through the air. What the hell?
I feel like I'm listening to a recording of myself from the last 2 weeks.
Yes, yeah. I'm teeing you up. Take it.
Well, the problem is that now everybody is thinking that way.
Not the Bucs. It's a touchdown spread.
You want to be early, right? And I think that the Baltimore stink is overlooking the Titans stink.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? Tennessee has been playing worse football than Baltimore. They lost by 17 to the Colts. They barely beat the Bears. Yep. And they lost by 11 to the to the Bengals in their last 3 weeks. So
yeah, that seems bad.
It's not good. I don't want to give Baltimore a pass for losing to the Patriots, but that game was apocalyptic in terms of weather. You had the center throwing the ball into the dirt, not being able to reach Lamar Jackson. Yeah. They had some weird stuff going on in that game in terms of just the wind and the wetness. And New England just came out and punched them in the mouth. They were the more physical team. I don't see that happening this week with Tennessee. So as much as I have been off of Baltimore, I think this might be a nice spot to buy back in, especially since we can get it at less than a touchdown now.
I mean, it's still pretty rich, though, Joe. Like, that's a lot. If we're talking 4 or 5, then I'm with you 100%, Maddie. But, like, we're talking 6.5, probably up to 7 when it's all said and done. I know it's moved down half a point, but it'll probably get that hook back. Like, come on, that's pretty rich. Tennessee still got something in the tank, right?
Yeah, my first instinct was with you, Dieter. I thought that this Titans team, like they were just going to go and basically do what they did like last year in the playoffs. Mm-hmm. But I think that like there is so much value like with like being on the other side of everyone just wants to bury this Ravens team. So I think I'm on the Ravens in this spot, believe it or not. I think they're going to get up for this Titans game. Obviously losing at home in the playoffs last year is something that's still going to be fresh in their minds. This Titans defense is not very good. So I think that the Ravens still can have some success here doing what they do best. And I think I'd just rather put my hard-earned American dollars on Lamar Jackson at home versus Ryan Tannehill on the road. But I have nothing to say about Derrick Henry, by the way.
Nothing to say ever. And by the way, if you want to put your hard-earned Canadian dollars on this game, use blitzbet.eu. That'd be great. We'd really appreciate it. Our hard-earned American dollars just don't go as far anymore. I was looking at the T-notes today. Not great. Maddie, at the same time, let's talk about the Baltimore offense because they can't move the ball through the air. And you're right, apocalyptic weather. I get it. But this is not a 1-week thing where they cannot move the ball through the air. Teams have figured out Lamar, and Lamar is yet to make them pay. Tennessee's got a pretty good read on this Baltimore team, I'd imagine. Even if their defense is bad, if it's schemed up right, I feel like it can slog this game down. It's the under the better play here than maybe taking that 6.5 one way or another.
I don't know. I mean, both of these teams can put up points in bunches, and the betting numbers are definitely screaming over at the moment. So 62% of the bets have come in on the under.
Yeah.
98% of the dollars on the over. So just a massive differential there. We're talking a 50-point swing. And as a result, the total has already jumped by 2 points. So the sharps say over. And, I need a good reason to disagree with those guys, and I don't have one.
All right, Mr. Sharp over here. We'll ride it out, and we'll talk about Minnesota and Kirk Cousins. Big win. Oh, boy. What a wonderful game that was to watch last night. They're going to host Andy Dalton and the Dallas Cowboys. Jeez Louise. And this is a 4:25 game, so you know it's going to be on Fox nationally for no good reason because it's the Dallas Cowboys. That's going to be so frustrating. Joe Buck gets to go to Minnesota. Why? We'll never know. Vikings are 8.5-point favorites. I'm seeing 7.5 in some places. That feels a little bit more right to me. Total on this one is 46.5. Joe, this is a clear overplay, right?
Yeah, two bad defenses. I'll say this. I haven't done a very good job with handicapping the Vikings this year, and I definitely haven't had a very good record against my girlfriend in showdown contests involving the Vikings. Last night, she beats me head-to-head again with the Viking stack. I was on the other side of it. So I originally was going to say that I think that regardless of what you think about the Cowboys and their current situation, they do have some playmakers on offense at receiver, and the Vikings, they don't have a very good secondary. So I could see them making some plays in this game to make it to where this line might be a little bit out of reach. That said, they're still just going to lead on the run game for the Vikings, Dalvin Cook, and I don't think the Cowboys have much of an answer for that overall. So I think the Vikings win this game, but I'm not convinced that they cover. Are you on the other side, LaMarca?
I'm not sure yet, to be honest. Dalton being back for the Cowboys feels like it matters. Like
one would hope
he's got to be considered a significant upgrade over Ben DiNucci and Garrett Gilbert. So,
well, you can't divide by 0 with Ben DiNucci. Garrett Gilbert had a nice game.
Fair point. Fair point. They might have been better with the mailbox at quarterback. Yeah, I think that if this line is basically saying that the Cowboys are among the worst teams in football, and while that's probably true, I don't know if Minnesota, like, it's so many points for the Vikings. I get that they're 3-0 in their last 3 games. This is still not a juggernaut of a football team, you know? The Sharps, for whatever it's worth, do seem to like the Vikings at this number. 76% of the dollars have landed on the Vikings to start the week. Again, it's early. I'll go through my whole John King spiel. It's early. We got to count the votes. But at the moment, they like Minnesota. So I'm still a bit conflicted on this game. I think it's too many points, but we'll see what happens.
All right. Let's talk about the Chargers and the Jets because we're contractually obligated to do so. I would like to point out that the Chargers wins this year have come against the Bengals and the Jaguars.
Oh, so they can win this game.
Yeah, no, and this might be a third. They're 8.5-point favorites. It started at 10. It's now gone to 8.5. We're getting some Joe Flacco respect out there. The total on this one is 47. It's in LA, so you have the long travel for the Jets. I'm not advocating that anybody go out there and bet the Jets straight up. But this is actually, I think, a more interesting line than we might initially believe. I don't think Anthony Lynn keeps his job much longer, and his team might be trying to get him out. I've seen a couple of teams in the NFL clearly try to get their coach fired, and I wouldn't be shocked if the Chargers, whose defense already stinks, kind of leans into it a little bit in this game. And listen, all you have to do is get 1 or 2 turnovers from this Chargers offense, and something might be brewing for the Jets here. They might get this win. I'm going out on the limb. I said I wasn't going to advocate anybody else. I'll go out on my own. I'm taking the Jets. I can't believe I just said that.
Wow.
I'm taking the Jets. Matt, please talk me off of this terrible position.
I'm taking the Chargers and the points here.
Okay.
And again, there are plenty of people out there that are going to be on the Jets this week. Right now, 59% of the bets, 77% of the spread dollars on the New York Football Jets. Nobody wants anything to do with this Chargers team. They just lost to the Dolphins. But that Dolphins game, again, the Dolphins have just sort of displayed this ability for blocking kicks and running kicks back and scoring defensive touchdowns. And
it's all super sustainable, Maddie. I'm feeling great about our
just
collective future here.
It's kind of smoke and mirrorsy. So I am going to go out on the limb and say that Justin Herbert plays a better game than he just played against the Dolphins, against the Jets. He is going to shred them. The Jets have no answer for Keenan Allen. Austin Eckler might be back.
Oh boy.
Mike Williams, guy can go get one. Hunter
Yep.
Henry, like this Chargers offense is going to have a coming out party this week. Again, maybe I'm just being a biased Jets fan here, but
Yeah. And you're looking for that loss?
I just don't see. I think that any chance we get to bet against the Jets laying less than like 2 touchdowns, we have to take advantage.
I think that's a very salient point. I also saw a Jets team that had a little something going on Monday night. Was it Monday Night Football? Not too long ago.
Yeah, against the Patriots in a look ahead spot.
Well, listen, the Patriots just beat. Yeah, the Patriots maybe aren't as bad as I thought they were. I can't get a read on that damn team, and we're going to leave them out of it. Joe, is there something to this Jets team? Because I know that the Chargers team is going like this.
Can I say that both of those things might be true, but I don't know if I agree with either of them. So I think that the Chargers, I think I'm willing to throw out rookie quarterbacks. I'm more willing to throw out a game where I know that the pressure is just coming like crazy. This Dolphins defense, we have a lot of respect for. He's played so well most of this year. The wins haven't been there. I understand that, but it's still the Jets on the other side, right? This team is incredibly. They're going to shoot themselves in the foot before they even stop one of those weapons for the Chargers. So I definitely want to be on the Chargers side. I'm definitely in the mindset of, this doesn't seem like near enough points for basically anyone against the Jets, let alone this Chargers team that I think is underrated still.
All right. All of these points make a lot of sense. If this gets back up to 10, I'm taking the Jets. But for now, I will abstain.
You just said you wanted a money line, baby. Come on now.
I might throw down 5 or 10 on the money line. I'm not even joking.
Yeah, the back pedal is real.
Listen, it's like a Jets defensive back. I'll spin around too. There's something off about this Chargers team, man. And if I can profit off of this weird vibe and feeling, I got to give it a try. I gotta follow my gut on this one. There's something off with these Chargers. I'm telling you right now, and I don't think that the Jets are going winless on the season. This might be the week. I know I tell don't let friends bet on the Jets. You guys are my friends. I'm glad you're not betting on the Jets, but I will ride this one solo if I have to, and I will take this money line. Watch. If I win, I'm going to gloat so damn hard next Tuesday or Monday, because we're doing it next Monday, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay. Good times.
Thanksgiving week, best week of the year.
Oh yeah,
it's a pretty good one. All right, let's talk Kansas City. We don't know who quarterback is for Denver and Miami yet, right? We don't know if Drew Lock is going to play or not. I'm not seeing any real, reputable lines out there. Suffice it to say that Miami is likely to be favored in Denver, and that feels about right. What would you set the line at if you were the odds maker here, Maddie?
If Drew Lock is in, I think that this Dolphins -3.5 line is probably accurate. If Lock is out and we get another week of, Rippin or whoever, I think it's going up to 7-ish. And
wow, that's a 4-point quarterback.
3.5. Yeah, maybe not. Maybe 6.5 is. I don't know. I think that this Dolphins team is going to start becoming super public. So
True.
I think their lines are going to be a little bit inflated. I am, I've been driving this bandwagon, Dieter.
Hey, I'm on it with you, man. I'm your sous chef in this kitchen.
It's time for us to maybe start selling our stock.
Oh yeah, I want out. I mean, I still want the AFC East future because we've been in it for so long, and might as well. What are we going to do? Hedge at this point? I'm not. Hedging
No. I'm saying week to week we start.
I'm so out.
We start maybe pushing our position the other way.
Here's why it's going public, because Tua looks awesome, and there's something to that, right? We weren't sure if he was going to translate immediately to the NFL game. He's not super athletic. He's not very big, but the kid's got something. There's some moxie there, and I don't know how long it's going to last. But it's fun to watch, and people are going to be like, oh, well, the Dolphins have a quarterback. The reason they keep winning is because they have a defense.
Anytime somebody starts throwing around moxie, I'm immediately selling.
I know. That's exactly. That's where I'm at. I don't know how long Tua is going to keep this up, man. I might, I think a good hedge is in play.
Just tell me that he's got the it factor, and we're ready. We're ready to sell.
Dude, you do not. I used to live down in South Florida. I used to cover the Dolphins. You couldn't even believe the terms that are being thrown around with this Tua. They are so thirsty for a franchise quarterback. They've already anointed this kid who has been very good. Don't get me
Yeah,
wrong.
I'm not.
Been
I
very
don't
good.
want it to sound like I'm negative on Tua. I do like Tua,
I'm
but
just not as high as they are. I mean, they
this
are
kid is,
floating in the
the Dolphins.
clouds.
The Dolphins this season output hasn't changed that drastically because they moved from Ryan Fitzpatrick to Tua Tagovailoa. Like,
Yeah.
it's the defense. It's the fact that their special teams has given them like
Whew.
1,000,000 points the last 3 weeks. That's what has made this Dolphins run, not the quarterback switch.
Yeah. I'm with you, but you're right. They're going to be a public team now because they have the quarterback. And listen, special teams are only so sustainable, man. It's every week. It's like, I don't know how they did that one, but here they are. And we're still holding the AFC East future unless Joe can talk us into a Buffalo Bills AFC East bet.
No, I think you guys pretty much covered it. I'm just sitting here hanging out, listening to you guys talk about the Dolphins. It's all good. I would rather just sit back and produce, let you guys go. It's perfect.
We're locked in on the Fins.
Yeah, I'm with you. I also, for the record, I refuse to say a word about
right.
this Chiefs-Raiders game until Matt LaMarca tells us about Andy Reid off a bye.
Please.
I was literally typing it into my database as
the
we
database.
speak. So I might need like a 30-second Dieter ramp, get us into this game, Dieter.
It's what I'm here for. 57 points is way too much as a total with this Raiders team. Their entire offense is predicated on controlling the game and limiting possessions and running Josh Jacobs and throwing it to a tight end. And it's a fine offense. There's nothing wrong with it. It might win in the playoffs even. But man, they don't want Kansas City to have 10 possessions. They want them to have 7. If they're lucky, they can get to 6. I mean, they want to take up an entire damn quarter. And so 57 points is an implication that Kansas City is just going to get theirs, which they very well might. But I think that the underplay is fairly clear here. You have a team, let's also establish, that's already beaten the Chiefs this year. So they kind of know, and they're not changing their formula. And maybe the Chiefs will just go off and go nuclear. Then in that case, the Raiders aren't going to be able to keep up offensively, even with garbage time. So I'm taking the under on 57, even though it's Kansas City. Matt, how about that Andy Reid stat for us?
Yeah, so first, Dieter, divisional under, my man. Sounds good to me.
Listen, I listen to the best.
Andy Reid with 14 days to prepare during the regular season, 10-5 against the spread.
Oh, baby. Oh, baby.
Not as good as you might have thought. I mean,
do we have a straight-up number there?
Given the amount of hype that Andy Reid has coming off of a bye, you would think he's 15-0. And believe it or not, most of his good times came with the Eagles. 7-3 with 14 days with the Eagles, only 3-2 with the Chiefs, and only 1-1 with Patrick Mahomes. So again, we're building the sample size with Mahomes, but it's not like he is infallible off of a bye. That said, how can you not like the Chiefs this week, right? I mean, they've already lost to this Raiders teams once.
Yeah.
How are they going to do it again?
I can't see a wrap. I can't see a wrap. Now I can very much see them covering 6 points with a extreme ease. Because by the way, they don't have to deal with weather. They're in a dome in front of nobody in Las Vegas. I will say,
I've heard Vegas get some buzz recently, right? About I don't remember what show I was watching. It might have been Get Up was on my TV randomly, but Jeff Saturday was saying that he thinks that the Raiders could legitimately win the AFC. The Raiders are 22nd in DVOA this year. They're not that good.
They have the worst defense in the NFL, arguably.
They're not that good. So they have put together some wins, but it's not like I want to be out here buying Raiders stock.
This is bubblegum, spit, and shoestring. I mean, they can only win one way. They have one kind of smoke. It's a decent kind of smoke. Kansas City, you could argue, only has one kind of smoke, but it's the best smoke you've ever seen. It's unbelievable smoke. It's Kansas City grade barbecue smoke. 6 seems ridiculous. Now Kansas City is also angry because apparently the Raiders drove their bus around the parking lot a couple of times after they won at Arrowhead for the first time in my adult life. Like Andy Reid pissed off a bye week. And by the way, Patrick Mahomes is his quarterback and they're pretty darn healthy. How is 6 a reasonable line here, Joe?
Yeah, I don't really think it is a reasonable line. So
Yeah.
I'm with you guys on everything you guys just laid out there. I think Kansas City runs the ball a little bit better. They play a little bit better defense off the bye. They get some of these things worked out. So I'm definitely with you guys on that. They're still the class of this division. Let's make one thing very clear. I get that Vegas has been like this nice story to talk about, and maybe they make some noise in the playoffs. I don't know. I still think that there's no chance that I want to be on that side of this game at that line. So I'm with you guys.
The only
So we're taking.
caveat
Go ahead.
is that this is going to be a very public team in a prime time, heavily bet game. Those
Yeah.
are always scary situations, but yeah, I think that this line is just a little bit disrespectful towards the Chiefs.
I'm also not going to lie. I don't feel great about the Kansas City Chiefs sitting in a hotel all day in Las Vegas. Just don't feel great about that. Like there's something to this. This is something that I bet
I
a
think
lot
they can
with
wait
college
till
football.
after the game.
I don't know.
If it
man.
was me, I'd worry. These guys are professional athletes.
Yeah, well, I've spent a lot of time around professional athletes. That makes me worried a little bit more.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm with you, Dieter. Those guys don't give anything.
These are literally people bred to be fearless. I'm pretty sure that they're not going to be keeping with curfew or playing video games. Like baseball players, hockey players, there's a certain level of like kind of dorkiness. It doesn't really apply in the NFL, now, especially across a 53-man roster. This was something I bet on a lot when I did college football at a reasonably high level, if I can toot my own horn a little bit. Like night games, Saturday, bunch of kids sitting in a hotel all day, they just don't come in right. They never play right. There's something to that with this one. It's the only reason that I'm not just absolutely demolishing the 6 right now. That's it. But, get me a couple more days and we'll figure it out. If Kansas City flies in day of game, I'd feel much more comfortable. That's my official stance on that. Let's talk about the Monday night game, and then we'll get the hell up out of here. Jared Goff, Tom Brady. I mean, a quarterback matchup for the ages here. With the Rams and the Buccaneers. It's in Tampa. That bodes well for the Bucs. 3.5 points for Tampa Bay. Joe, I think by the way, a 47-point total, which feels low. I think I'm in on Tampa. I think I'm in on the over. Where do you sit?
I'm on the opposite, man. Dieter, we are like very far apart on some of these things right now.
This is beautiful because we usually agree.
We usually do. This is perfect. This is the best thing. I should do less research because today, for whatever reason, I feel like I'm on like the non-sharp side of things because you're just on the complete opposite side. I think this is a clear under, and I actually do like the Rams in this game a little bit. I think this defense is just playing at a super high level right now. I get that the Bucs defense has been good, but they've also been pretty inconsistent at times. So I'm interested in that. Obviously, I guess when the pieces don't completely come together, like the Rams want to run the ball, Tampa Bay has been very strong against the run, all of that good stuff. But I don't know. I have these weird biases that with Jared Goff that I'm trying to get over. I also just like had a really good week playing a lot of Tom Brady stacks early. So I kind of don't want to double down on that. I feel like I just got to take my Tom Brady and Rob Gronkowski money and run a little bit. So I want to be on the Rams side of this one. I think both defenses are good enough to where this could be an under also. LaMarca?
Yeah.
I do think the Rams are probably one of the more underrated teams in football at the moment. Like they are top 10 in DVOA on both sides of the ball. They're actually top 8 in both sides of the ball. Not a lot of teams can say that. So I like this Rams team, but Tampa Bay is still the class of the NFC, in my opinion. And the early betting numbers are just very heavily in Tampa Bay's favor. They're getting 55% of the betting tickets, but 96% of the betting dollars. So again, it's early, got to count the votes, but it looks like Tampa is shaping up to be the side here.
Okay. How do you feel about the total?
I think I'm with Joe on that one. I think that this might be a smidge high. We already have seen it come down by a point. And I think that, the Rams are not that type of team that wants to put up a shootout like these days. They're a little bit more defensively minded, a little bit more run game oriented. They're not the same version that we saw when McVay initially took over. So they want to play, like a little bit of a more lower scoring game. Tampa has put up a bunch of points at times this year, but they're still like not a great offensive team. They're only 13th in offensive DVOA, but they're the best defensive team in the league. So I think an under makes some sense here.
By the way, the Rams have to travel from Los Angeles to Tampa Bay and play at night on a Monday. But we're just going to overlook that, I guess.
Doesn't matter.
Okay. Watch it matter. All right. Looking at the slate, best bet of the week. It's early. We still got to, you can do your John King voice here, Maddie.
Count the votes.
Count the votes. We still got to count the votes. But what's the best bet of the week for you? We start with Matt LaMarca.
Yeah, we've got some interesting candidates here. I think, am I allowed to pick the Thursday game?
You're absolutely allowed to pick the Thursday game.
Right.
It is part of the Week 11 slate.
How about this? I'm going to go with a Seattle Seahawks money line and under 58 parlay.
Let's boogie. You're getting feisty on me. Thursday night money line and an under parlay.
That's it.
That's just the way to live.
Did you even watch the game last week, LaMarca? Did you see Kyler Murray, Nuke Hopkins? This team could win the Super Bowl.
Yeah,
and you want to bet on the Seattle Seahawks, a team that can't stop anyone, that's been playing terrible? I don't understand. No, you might be right.
It's a personal affront to Joe, who's now going to give us his best bet of the week, which will not be as saucy as Maddie's.
Well, for the record, I'm changing all of my Super Bowl predictions to Cardinals over Steelers to, I guess, get the revenge spot there, because that just like destroyed my soul when I was like 18 years old. Anyways, what are we talking about? Best bet? I like the Ravens this week. I like the Ravens over the Titans, especially if the public side just wants to absolutely bury the Ravens. I'm not quite ready to do that yet, so I like them this week.
Okay.
I like that game too. Good call.
I don't. So congratulations to you two. Congratulations to me for making all of that money. I am all in on Atlanta +5 at New Orleans. I don't like anything that I saw from Jameis Winston against the 49ers. I understand that Atlanta's not good. Saints, secret trash. I'm out. I'm out on Jameis Winston. I'm out on Taysom Hill. I think it's just going to be a tire fire. And if nothing else, I'm definitely taking the under in that game at 51. Just, look, give me all sorts of muck in the NFC South with, just as if Atlanta doesn't know how to beat Jameis Winston. So that's where I'm at. I'm at Atlanta +5, and I'm taking the under 51. And hell, I'll parlay it too. It's not as saucy as a Thursday night parlay, but I'll throw them together and see what happens. Joe, tell the folks when you're streaming next.
Every Monday, Wednesday at 3 p.m. Eastern time, and then on Sundays at 9 a.m. Go right up until the Line Movement show on Sundays. That's at 11 a.m. Eastern time, and then obviously with LaMarca and with Peter right before Thursday Night Football, we'll break down this entire slate from a DFS, from a betting perspective, all that good stuff. I think that's all the boxes. I'll be on Al Smizzle's YouTube channel this week to do the cage match, so that'll be really fun. I did win it last year, so he's coming for blood. Both of us are playing for No Kid Hungry, good cause, all that good stuff. So always a good time doing some shows with Al too.
Maddie, when is your latest at Line Movement going up?
Every Thursday. Thursday morning should have the main slate breakdown up. All 11 games pending any sort of quarterback uncertainty. If we don't have lines, I'll kind of just give a general consensus, but I'll have my picks up, and then make sure to follow me on Twitter. Little plug there, because I gave out some good nuggets about win games before Sunday, and those went 2-0. So just keep your eyes peeled on Twitter for any sort of betting updates I may have.
Maddie LaMarca is out here to make you money. And if you want to spend some of that money with blitzbet.eu, if you're in the fine country of Canada or somewhere that's not the United States, please do that. It is a great website, and we very much like it. All right, that's it. We will talk soon, because it's Line Movement, and we're always on. So have a good one, everybody.